Well, hello there and welcome to my workshop. Now we're back with this great acoustic guitar build. I've got my step-by-step guitar building book by Alex Willis, and I have to give a big thank you to Gabrielle Retty for all her marvellous videos on acoustic guitar building. I've been watching those as well. So in this episode I'm going to assemble this former to bend the ribs. I also managed to dig out my steam box, so I'll show you that. Well, and let's see where we go from there. Whew. Not sure how we're going to do this. First things first, let's see if we can assemble this former. Now I realise there's a bit missing, and that is I need a block of wood at the bottom there so I can clamp this into a vise. So let me see if I can find a block of wood. Okay, well I think these may do the job. I've got that piece there which will go down into the vise. I need to make it a little bit wider. It's got to be the same width as that in order to fit to the sides. So I think with a little bit of planing I can get those to fit. So effectively I will fit those to that, and then the sides will fit on there. Yeah, I think that'll do the trick. Okay, right then, if I can measure this properly. Right, well this was supposed to be 76. It's actually 77. So that's okay. And I measure these. These are 78, so I just need to take 1 mil off one side. I'm going to use the highly technical method of taking a bit off and trying it out. See where we are. Keep getting the ruler up the wrong way. Right, 77.5. Let's take some off this side. I took an opportunity over the winter when it was a bit cold out here to come out and sharpen all the blades, chisels and planes, so they're all nice and sharp, ready for the new season of guitar building. 77, that'll do me. Magic. Okay, so these are two slightly different lengths. I will just make them the same length, just for purely cosmetic reasons. I mean, to be honest, you're not going to see these bits of wood because they're going to be up inside, but let's make them look neat anyway. Is that done? I'm just going to attach this with screws. Okay, now to fit this jigsaw puzzle together. I'm going to stand it a bit proud of the edge because I'm going to have to sand that down a bit. It's a bit of a mess there, so I'm just going to put it a little bit proud of the edge there. Let's build up all of these first. Again, just a little bit proud of the edge. That's going to go there. And that's going to go just there. Okay, I'll mark that with a pencil. Got a load of new lambs in the field, so you can hear them, hear the mums and the lambs burrowing away. That's okay. Okay, I'm going to screw and glue these blocks in, so I'm going to drill some pilot holes. I'm going to use this mitre bond stuff, super glue, so it'll hold it in place because the screws are going to hold it tight. So this will help me get it into position. Then I can turn it over and just screw it in. Here we go. One bit done. Okay, that's it. I can turn it over. Do I need to turn it over? Can I just do it like this? That looks about right. I think what I'm going to do is just screw this down. I think that's going to be fine. Oh, let's try. One side done. Excuse me, that took a little while to do that, but it's all nice and smooth. Got a couple of little gaps there, but I don't think that'll affect anything. So now I'll just fit this base in, and that should just fit in there like so. Get it reasonably central and screw it in place. Making sure I missed the screws that I put in earlier, of course. Smashing! And that fit in there. I'm just going to give this a coat of varnish just to seal the wood, and that will be done. Yeah, that's all right. I'm going to move that out the way. And make a bit of room. Okay, I think the next thing I'm going to do is make myself a template for the neck and the headstock. And to do that, I think I'm going to use the old fretboard to give me the size, and just take some measurements from the neck there. How many frets do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 frets. And the scale length, which I checked before, is 650. So we've got 650 scale length, 650, 19 frets, and the width at the 19th fret is 69. 69. At the nut, 51. 51. Okay, let's mark it out. Of course, I've gone and done it again. They say measure, and then measure again. And I thought the 19th fret was 69 wide, and it's actually 64. You know, sometimes you've got to stop and think a bit. And this is one of those times, because I started out by saying I'm going to make a template for the neck and the headstock, and then dived into making a template just for the fretboard. So I'm thinking, do I need to include the headstock in this, or should I do a separate template for the headstock? And I think I'm going to do a separate template for the headstock, because I think I'm going to scarf joint the headstock on. Not sure whether that's a thing you do on acoustics, but I think I'm going to have to do that. So it's getting a bit late in today, so I think I'm going to call it a day for today, and come back when I'm fresh, because it's heading down the wrong way at the moment. So I will see you in a bit. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's a new day, or should I say a new afternoon, a sunny afternoon at that, and I'm back, and well, yes, I've been thinking. Now then, I have to say thank you very much for all the comments that you made on my first and second videos. Now, I've been trying to make videos a couple of weeks ahead of when I put them out. So I'm not sure how long I can keep this up. So I'm apologising, but the comments that you put on my first video were extremely useful in trying to think about what sort of top I could put on the guitar. But of course, at that point, I didn't know that I was going to have to rebuild the thing from scratch. So things have changed a little, but obviously the material that I use for the top of the guitar probably is the same. And I was amazed. I mean, I'm not an expert in acoustic guitars at all, and when everybody said, well, it should be pine or spruce or cedar, I thought they were softer woods, and I thought that would perhaps sort of deaden the sound. But in actual fact, of course, they're lighter. You can cut them much thinner, apparently. And well, spruce seems to be the wood of choice for acoustic guitars. Well, since, and I've got my book here, The Complete Guitarist, and at the beginning of this book it talks about the history of guitars, and it seems right from the very early days in the 16th century they were using spruce. But I'm afraid, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go against the grain, so to speak. Now, of course, I also said I was going to make a copy of my old acoustic guitar, this one here, sort of pay homage to it. Now, I'm going to make a copy in so much as I'm going to use the same body shape and probably the same neck shape, but in terms of the wood and in terms of the design of the guitar on the top there, I think I might do something a little bit different. Now then, let me explain why I have two guitars in front of me. The Great Guitar Build Off 2022 guitar and a guitar from Gear for Music, which I think cost about £75, and it's sort of an electro acoustic guitar. Now, the interesting thing about these is that it looks to me like it is a cedar top. This guitar is completely made from cherry, and I was just interested that the sound from both guitars is very similar. Now then, what I'm going to do is bring the camera and the mic a bit closer, so hopefully you can hear the difference between these two guitars. Okay, so let me strum an E chord on this guitar. Now an E chord on this guitar. Okay, so the purpose of this little test, well, I don't think the difference in tone between those two guitars is that great, if I'm honest with you. Now, if I play my Guild acoustic guitar, then I get a much deeper tone, yeah, it's completely different. But given that this is such a thin body guitar and it's made out of 3mm thick cherry, I would have thought that this would sound much more tinny, if you like, or high pitched than this one, which is, well, it's a, you know, sort of a proper acoustic guitar. So begs the question, you know, where does the tone come from on this? I would have thought the bigger body would have given me a much deeper tone, but it hasn't. So this got me thinking. See, the thing is this, I know how to build this guitar, and I'm just thinking whether I could use the same sort of techniques that I used to build this with its internal structure for the new acoustic guitar. And somebody commented to say, don't put a sound hole in it, use F-holes, because fundamentally the sound hole is going to weaken the guitar. And of course that's true. And I thought, well, actually, I quite like the sound of that, you know. And it's interesting because I've looked through my little book here at acoustic guitars, and well, they either have sound holes or they have F holes. And I'm thinking, why don't I do something a bit different? You know, I like the idea of the petal or the leaf, and I'm just wondering whether, why don't I, you know, do that sort of design? I have to get my design consultant to help me, but do something a little bit different, you know, add my touch, if you like, to this new acoustic guitar. And there's another thing too, and that is the wood. Now then, I'll be perfectly honest with you that I splashed out my wood budget last year at the Maker Show at the NEC in Birmingham. Now, the wood yard that I used to buy my wood from, Surrey Timbers, is no longer near me, or I'm no longer near it. So I was very fortunate when we went to the exhibition there, the Maker Central exhibition. They had a stand and they were selling some wood. So I took the opportunity and bought some. So I bought walnut, I bought Santos rosewood, and I bought zebrano. So I'm going to have to make do with the wood that I've got, and you know, I'm quite happy about that, which probably is going to make my life a little bit harder, but hey, we're up for a challenge. I have also got some other bits and pieces. I have a piece of ash there, which may be too small to do anything with. I've got another piece of ash, which for a while now has been like a doorstep to one of our rooms, but yeah, maybe I'll do something with that. Got a piece of maple, which might make a nice fretboard, and I think this is a piece of sycamore. Oh, and the old Evangel, which I love, a dark wood, which I think would be really good for the bridge. So these are the woods I've got. Now, if anyone has some tips on what might work best where, then I would greatly appreciate them. Obviously the Santos rosewood is very heavy. That's obviously very dense. The Zebrano is not as heavy, so that's obviously quite, it's a lighter wood, it's not as dense. And the walnut, well, it's not that heavy, so you know, that may do as a top. Gosh, decisions. Look, I'm not going to rush into this. I've decided that this year this is going to be my project, and I'm not going to enter the Great Guitar Build Off this year. I've done it for 3 years, really enjoyed it, and I just really feel like I think I want to rest rather than trying to work against any sort of deadline. And I'd like to get this guitar really nice. So I've made a start. I've got my former, which is looking reasonably nice. I've also got the fretboard neck template. This is the scale length from the nut down to the bridge there. I made this off camera. It's not particularly interesting, but I've got that. And I'm also looking at seeing if I can convert my radius surface here into what I think is called a solera, which is the Spanish system of construction for guitars. I think I can. So that's going to be my project, I think, in the next video. But in the meantime, I'm going to call it a day for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and thank you for your patience. This is going to be a really interesting project. It's sort of developing as it goes, and you know me, it's nothing's planned up front. Yeah, it's a question of just trying it and see what works. So it's going to be quite exciting. I'm looking forward to doing this. I mentioned in the previous video about featuring your interests and hobbies on the channel. So if you've got an interest or a hobby that you'd like me to feature, please send me, so first of all, please contact me through my website, which is at footstepguitars.co.uk. I'll get back to you, and then you can perhaps send me a couple of photos and a little description of your hobby, what it is you enjoy, what it is you do, with a view of trying to inspire others to find new hobbies. Anyway, gosh, this is really turning out to be an adventure. I don't know. Hey, well, I'll see you soon. In the meantime, stay safe. Cheers.